Hello, and welcome to this video learning series regarding changes to the ISO 14001 standard that became effective in September 2015. These videos have been developed with facility management teams in mind to provide an overview of the changes to the standard with some hints on planning a transition for your organization. As a bit of introduction, my name is Bill Barnes. I am a IRCA registered principal auditor and BAC certified responsible care auditor and management systems trainer. With about 15 years experience in developing and assessing environmental health and safety management systems, I've taken my learning curve and applied it to, hopefully, for your benefit. There are three parts to this program. First, we'll look at the key changes to the scope, structure, and concepts associated with the revised standard. The second video is a tour of the new standard and where we'll explore the realignment of the standard and where new concepts are added. The third video provides a bit of planning guidance for transitioning your system and preparing for Registrar Transitions certification. Let's get started. There are basically two avenues of change to the standard that you should become familiar with. The first is Annex SL realignment. Annex SL emerged a few years ago as an ISO directive. The goal is that with the growth and development of ISO formatted management systems across a wider range of business risks, a management system standard, or MSS, should be implemented, allowing organizations to merge business risk management across multiple disciplines like quality, environmental, safety, information management, and enterprise risk. A timeline was set for both ISO 9001 and 14001 undergoing this transformation plan for 2015. ISO is finalizing the 45001 standard for safety management systems due out in 2016 that also follows this structure. Another major change to the standard is the introduction of new concepts intended to broaden the scope of the management systems across any area where there may be influence or control by organizations, both internally focused and externally focused. This will enable environmental management systems to better manage a wider range of sustainability measures, such as product impacts on the environment, end-of-life considerations, external factors such as water availability, and greenhouse gas implications. We'll take a look at the overall Annex SL structure in a moment. Let's talk about context of the organization. This is a new requirement for organizations to consider this broader spectrum of influence and control and identify interested parties, formerly known as stakeholders. A new clause titled Leadership enhances expectations for involvement and engagement of top management with the implementation of the EMS and integrating it with business plans overall. A new clause titled Risk Associated with Threats and Opportunities aims to link the context of the organization review and ensure that risks and opportunities across a wide range of interested parties are being addressed by the management team and the system. For example, if there are local or regional issues with water availability, is the organization looking at water consumption internally and taking the opportunity to implement best practices, even if operating within permitted uptake limits? The relocated and expanded clause for operational control now requires organizations to look at life cycle perspective for sourcing of materials through the manufacturing and services provided on site to the marketplace and ultimate disposition of materials. Another enhancement in operational control is accountability for outsourced activities, including contracted workforces. As an example, the scope of the management system must now be documented and available to interested parties, inclusive of outsourced activities under influence or control of your organization. Here's a quick graphic about the Annex SL structure. There are now 10 main clauses. We'll explore and navigate the standard more in Part 2. Let's talk a little bit more on context of the organization and the assessment of expectations of interested parties. These may be internal or external, involving organizational considerations, natural resources, employee management considerations, community considerations, etc., etc. A good mnemonic to use is PESTLE. It identifies 6 key areas of consideration and has been used by organizations to identify overall business risks and influences: political, economic, social, technological, legal, and environmental. Keep in mind that when evaluating environmental aspects, you should now consider external interested parties and what they may consider significant. Let's talk a little bit more on leadership. It's always been a requirement of the standard, and I've enjoyed auditing engaged managers over the years. Typically, the best run management systems get that way from strong management engagement. There are now expectations for accountability for management. Are they engaging in corrective and preventive actions, supporting objectives and improvement programs, participating in audit reviews and management reviews? These are some of the questions that need to be answered. Are objectives aligned with the strategic direction of the organization and perhaps parent company expectations? I like to say, does environmental have a seat at the table? So there you have a quick overview of the key changes to the ISO 14001:2015 standard. We looked quickly at the Annex SL structure and introduced some new or expanded conceptual changes. Part 2 will explore the standard in more detail. For more detail on the changes and the new concepts, check out Annex A to the new standard. It does a good job of communicating the intent and expectations of ISO for implementing the transition. Thank you for your time. If you have questions, please feel free to email me at bbarnes@compliance-design.com for further consultation.